You're listening to this podcast, so I know you've got a curious mind. Here's a helpful fact you may not know yet. Drivers who switch and save with Progressive save over $900 on average. Pop over to Progressive.com, answer some questions, and you'll get a quick quote with discounts that are easy to come by. In fact, 99% of their auto customers earn at least one discount. Visit Progressive.com and see if you can enjoy a little cash back. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. National average 12-month savings of $946 by new customers surveyed who saved with Progressive between June 2024 and May 2025. Potential savings will vary.
Everyone, and welcome to Big Little Lessons. I'm Jenny.
And I'm Kristine. We're longtime kindergarten teachers, teaching partners, and friends with more than 50 years of combined experience in the classroom. After spending decades helping children navigate friendship, emotions, learning, mistakes, and growth, we've realized something important. Adults are really just grown-up kindergartners.
So true.
It is.
Today, we're talking about something that has been especially alive for both of us lately, travel. We both recently returned from time in Europe where we had the chance to visit beautiful places, step outside of our regular routines, and experience the joy and sometimes the stretching that comes from being somewhere new.
Travel is such a way of waking us up. It invites us to pay attention, to be curious, to slow down, and to see the world with fresh eyes. So really, in so many ways, that connects us right back to what we learned in the classroom as little people, right? Children are naturally curious. They notice details, they ask questions, they're willing to explore, they wonder, they're surprised. So we're connecting that back to our experiences.
And sometimes travel helps us to return to that part of ourselves too. So today we're reflecting on the lessons travel teaches us about flexibility, gratitude, perspective, connection, and the importance of stepping away from our everyday routines. Because sometimes when we leave what is familiar, we come home with a better understanding of ourselves, each other, and the big, beautiful world around us.
So true. So before we get started, listeners, you can find us on Instagram at Teach Big Little Lessons, and you can email us at teachbiglittlelessons@gmail.com. We love hearing from you.
Okay, Kristine. So tell everybody, we haven't talked about this, and it's really hard.
I know.
You came over this morning and we're both bubbling.
We haven't seen each other in a month. So
tell us where you went.
Okay.
Oh, wait. Back up. Tell us what happened right before you left.
So exciting. Well, first of all, I planned this trip a long time ago. And as I planned the trip, I've been with I call him my husband. We've been together for 16 years and we're not officially married. So we started talking about it and I said, wouldn't it be fun if we got married right before we went to Italy, and then Italy could be our honeymoon?
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
So that happened.
So what happened on your wedding day?
So it was very sweet. We had all 5 children with us. We went to City Hall, and it was so much more than I thought it would be. I was really emotional. I cried. I couldn't believe I cried, but it was really cute. You go up and you walk up to the woman who's behind a booth, like when you're getting paperwork done.
Okay.
And
a
clerk. Yeah. She's sitting there. So we didn't go into a room. Because we didn't have time to do it. So she's sitting there and she says, okay, turn to each other, look into each other's eyes. Oh. I thought I was going to giggle, but I didn't giggle.
It was real.
It was real. It was really beautiful. And one of our friends made me a beautiful bouquet. I had my bouquet and the kids weren't allowed in. So when we came out, except our eldest child. So
how come they weren't allowed in?
So you're only allowed one witness. So unless you get a room, and we didn't have a room to marry us because as I said, it was a time crunch and we just needed to get it done.
But it just felt like it just happened.
So all the kids were outside. Ava came in. She was taking pictures the whole time. She was our witness. And then we went outside and all the kids were there and they were cheering and they were like, kiss. And it was really
So
cute.
Did you make out?
No, we did not make out, but we did have a kiss, a good kiss. And then we all had dinner and Don's mom came and sisters came with It was really special. It was really so much more than I thought it would be. And my feelings were so much bigger than I thought they would be. So
I think in many ways, the emotions, at least how I'm hearing it, is because you really wanted to marry Don.
Yeah.
And Don really wanted to marry you. I've seen you since the very beginning when you wanted to meet Don and go on a date with Don. And so...
Yeah, you knew me from before I met him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the whole dating world and
Yeah.
all that good stuff. And I'm just so happy for both of you. You complement each other so well. So congratulations.
Thank you so much.
So that was 2 days before you left, correct?
Yes, and I am married.
So how was the honeymoon? Where did you go for your honeymoon?
So we started in Naples, which I had never been to Naples before. And it was really fun because we planned this trip to meet actually my dad and my stepmom and their two friends. One of them was born in Naples. So we started this trip in Naples. We had 2 days in Naples. So part of the things that I like to do, we both like to really learn about wherever we're going. So we plan different kinds of guides or experiences. And I know you do the same. And I never did that when I was younger, but as I've gotten older, it's like really, I love it. So I said to Don, you better sleep on the plane. We're arriving at 10. We're dropping off our bags and we're going to grind. We are grinding. We are seeing the things. And so we did that. And then that evening we met up with my dad, and Naples was very different than any other place in Italy I had been to. It's a little bit grittier, but it comes with such a rich history. And I don't know, have you been to Naples?
No, I have not.
So there's the Veiled Christ. I can't remember who the artist is. And it's just the most magnificent sculpture. You see so many incredible sculptures in Italy, but the Veiled Christ is like something that just takes your breath away. And it's almost like he's breathing. It's so beautiful and incredible. So that was really magnificent. And then we did some other sightseeing stuff and had a great time with my dad. From Naples, we rented a car, but then we drove to Pompeii. Then we drove east to a town called Matera, which I know you visited with. That is another thing that took my breath away that I'll talk more about. And then we went to Puglia and up and down Puglia. It was so great.
So amazing.
Yeah.
So, I know. It's a beautiful
So
country.
Italy, you could spend a lifetime in. I feel like you can keep going back because I was there 3 years ago to different parts, and it just is so incredible. Like each region brings its own. It's like you're traveling to a different country. Each region you go to.
That's awesome.
So you started in.
We spent most of our time in France. We did a day in Italy. So my dear friends, Cara and Scott, last August moved to Italy, a little fishing town, Bordighera. And so being the good friends that Dave and I are, we had to go visit them. And about a week before we were heading out, they moved 12 miles to a little town in France to see Cara and Scott for 3-4 days. When you have those longtime childhood friends, there's nothing like it. And they're just so much fun anyway, but they were fantastic. So we saw them for 4 days, and then we did a bike tour with Backroads, which is an amazing company. Mm-hmm. And we did that.
In France.
In France. That was the Champagne and Alsace regions. Mm-hmm. And then we spent a couple of days in Germany. We went to Freiburg, and then we came back to France to Strasbourg.
Had you been to Germany before?
I'd never been to Germany.
Yeah, Germany's cool.
Oh my gosh. I didn't know what to expect. It was fantastic. So we just had a beautiful, beautiful trip. So we loved it.
I love it.
Yeah. So Kristine, let me ask you, now you've been home, what?
Just 2 days, 3 days.
So in the 48 hours of time of reflection, is there a moment of your trip that has stayed with you?
A lot of moments. I think, the visiting Matera was really incredible. Just the thinking about all the history and what came before us. 8,000 years ago, people were living there in caves. Mm-hmm. And I was really overwhelmed when I was there by that. And I would just get these rushes of like, whoa, like I'm so small, what came before me is so significant and incredible. So that was really I felt like I could have been there maybe another extra day, but then we literally walked like 30,000 steps a day. Yes. While we were there. We saw every nook, every cranny, everything, had tours, ate food. So by the time I left, I was like, I really felt it. But you know what? Honestly, every single place we go, I had that same experience. So the whole time traveling, it just fills you up. I do want to say that before I left to go away, when it was the end of teaching kindergarten, I said to some of the other teachers, can you imagine if we had to carry on? Can you imagine if today is the last day, the day before the last day? Can you imagine if we had a whole year in front of us? If we didn't have this break, the 2-month break? And that's what you see on Instagram, people making jokes about that. But without this respite, I would die.
Yeah. It breathes new meaning into your life.
Yeah.
And rejoices. I'd hardly say you were resting on this trip.
Right. But it doesn't feel like that.
Yeah. It's activating new parts of your brain. It's just stepping out of your usual routine.
Yeah. What stayed with you?
Yeah. So I've been home 2 weeks now, 2.5 weeks, and finally over jet lag, which I'm very happy about. But I would say what has stayed with me is the people that I met. If you couldn't tell, I'm a little bit of an extrovert, and I love to meet people. And it was conversations in a cafe with somebody from another place, or on back roads meeting the people. Well, backing up, when we were with Cara and Scott, I got to meet people who are like family to Cara and Scott, who they've known for 30, 40 years. And I've known these names forever. And to finally meet them was such a thrill for me, because I'm like, I've known Miriam and Daniela since Daniela was 3, and now she is a mama with her own kids. And I got to finally meet them. And that's what stayed with me the most, is the people I met along the way, whether it was anyone, from a little cafe to a tour group. Meeting people from all over the world was such a thrill for me.
It's the best.
That's what stays with me.
I didn't have a lot of interactions with others. I was really focusing on just taking everything in. I mean, we did have random conversations with some people at dinner tables next to us, but that wasn't the biggest part of my trip. I love hearing that, because that makes so much sense.
Well, the thing about travel is expect the unexpected, and each trip has its own nuance.
Did you find that, we're both type A personalities, we both love our rhythms and our routines? Like, how was it switching from?
You have to be really flexible. I've started a long time ago when I'm out of my regular routine. Well, it's similar to teaching. Like, you and I are very organized as teachers. We have a plan, but within our plan, we're highly flexible, because stuff happens. Interruptions happen, meltdowns happen, surprise visitors come in. And so even though we have a plan, it has to be very open-ended and go, oh, this has changed. Now something's shifted. I would say I do the same thing with traveling. It's like, well, you're not going to have your regular coffee at home. You're gonna have a different coffee experience. And maybe sometimes I loved it and sometimes it wasn't so bad, but I've learned that go with the flow.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever think about switching insurance companies to see if you could save some cash? Progressive makes it easy. Just drop in some details about yourself and see if you're eligible to save money when you bundle your home and auto policies. The process only takes minutes, and it could mean hundreds more in your pocket. Visit Progressive.com after this episode to see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states.
How about you?
Yeah.
Being a routine person.
Well, I think what I do is I create a new rhythm and a new routine. So I said to Don, every day has 3 chapters, because we're early to rise, and chapter 1 is finding coffee. In Italy, nobody wakes up at that time, so that was sometimes a bit of a challenge.
They're not up at 4:30? What's wrong with them?
And we would wait till 7 at least. So chapter 1, and then what are we going to do today? And then, as it unfolded, and then the nighttime chapter was a whole different chapter. And we had things, I definitely always had things planned, but there was so much room for, okay, do you want to go left or do you want to go right? And that was really fun.
And then what's the third part?
No, just like the evening part. So it was like the morning part, the middle of the day part was like the activity, and then the nighttime part after dinner, even the walking after dinner. Aww. And exploring more. He loves to explore, which is so great.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I like that. Making a new routine,
a
travel routine.
So honestly, after 2 weeks, I felt like I was there for a month.
I know. Well, I mean, you guys were hoofing it. I was like, wait, I was getting whiplash seeing all your fabulous vlogs and stuff. So thank you for sharing. What about the curiosity and wonder part? Did you find something different in this trip versus other vacations you've taken?
I was noticing the way people were interacting, specifically children and families. We were really locked into that. There was one day we were at a beach near a place called Ostuni, and we were just sitting there, and it was about 5:00 in the evening, and there was a British family in front of us, and it was a husband and wife and like their probably sister or brother and their family. So it was 2 families and a bunch of little kids, like 4 little kids. And just the engagement and the joy and the excitement and the connection. They were so connected to their kids and listening and playing. And probably for, an hour and a half, I sat there and I just watched. Then afterwards, I didn't know, but Don was watching too.
Oh, interesting.
So we had a lot of those moments where we were both watching and then realized we both were watching the same thing and then having a conversation about it afterwards, which was kind of fun.
Yeah, that's great.
So a lot of noticing.
I was really intentional about living in the present. Not comparing anything else, but being present to what was in front of me. And that takes some intention. I think I learned that a lot from Catherine Sifron about mindfulness and just being present. So instead of what are we going to do next, I'm like, just be here right now. So that was really important for me.
I love that.
I'm trying to continue that as I move forward.
Well, I think that's a big takeaway also is the feeling that you have, even just physically for me, like I know that the cortisol in my body, that my body chemistry changes completely when I'm traveling. And you want to hold on to that for as long as you can, because we have to be less stressed out and live more in the present.
No more stress. Ha ha ha. What did you notice about yourself once you were away from your normal responsibilities?
Just the level of calm, not worrying about anything really, not just being present, definitely. And like what you said, and noticing my body, noticing what happened in my body.
Did you think about your daily life at home and
Nope.
Okay, that's good.
No, I didn't think about my kids. I really didn't.
That's good because they're all adults branching out and doing their life, and you're not attuning to little tiny kids.
No, this was a me time.
Wonderful.
Yeah. What about you?
Yeah, I would say I was really enjoying where I was. I always try to come home with some more perspective on, sometimes I can get in my head about overthinking things, and it's like, it gives me perspective. So for instance, with this podcast, I'm like, I need to do more. I'm like, no, you don't actually. Just be and just have fun with it. Mm-hmm. And so it's giving me more perspective and have a good time with things instead of putting these higher expectations on myself.
We all need that. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Let's hold on to that.
Well, I think the European lifestyle tends to do that. They like to linger over a meal. There's not something to rush through.
Right. And everything is closed in the middle of the day.
Yes.
So you can't do anything. And that's chapter 2 in the middle of the day where you have to find something to do.
I know. But I love that they don't. The American restaurants, and I get it. Look, people in the food service, they need to turn tables. They need to make their money and their tips and stuff. But the European lifestyle, their lunches, their dinners are not one to be rushed through. They're to be in community, and you stay as long as you want.
Yeah.
And you have to actually ask them for the check. Yeah. And that's refreshing.
It is.
And I wish we had a little, I do struggle with that a little bit here in America, but.
Right. I mean, it's not realistic. First of all, no restaurant opens until 8 p.m. Yeah. I'm in bed at 8:30 here. So it's just a different energy.
It is a different energy. That's the way it is. So we go over there and we have a great time and we enjoy their style.
Right. But wouldn't you say that traveling makes us, it's like being a beginner again. You know, you're starting something new because you don't know.
Yeah. And especially when you're someone like me who doesn't speak the language well. I mean, Kristine, you're kind of amazing with languages.
I can fake it a little bit.
Not fake it. You just have a natural. Tell us a little bit about the languages you know how to speak.
Well, I know Spanish, and I started to take Italian, and I only had one lesson, and before I went,
but and you're already fluent.
No, but I there's certain things that I really focus on wanting to be able to do, like ordering. Like I'm really good at ordering. I'm good at just the very basic things in Italian, but if I'm spoken to, I could pretty much get a sense of what is being said. I would say I'm better at French than Italian because I studied French. And I also studied Latin, which really helped me understand the root of the Romance languages. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I forget about German or something like that or Greek. I mean, I have no clue. But just those three.
But it does make you a beginner in the sense of, you know, even you that has some decent language abilities, it still makes you a beginner.
Yeah.
Right? You're going into someone else's culture and it's different from ours.
But the true beginner is my husband because he could barely pronounce buongiorno. And I'm like, you have to say it. You have to say buongiorno.
I feel for Don. I mean, I'm right there with Don.
I know, but I definitely... No, and that is something that I noticed in him. Like, oh, wow, I really have to be, patient and helping him.
Yeah, not laughing at him?
No, not laughing at him.
Okay. Well, what was something you had to figure out along the way?
Well, we rented a car. I was the navigator. Actually, this was the one thing I liked being the navigator, but what I didn't like was I was looking at my phone a lot in the car, and it was getting a little bit exhausting, but I didn't have a choice. So I had to figure out how to navigate. So in Italy, like literally every 3/4 of a mile, there's a roundabout. Mm-hmm. And so it was, finding... okay, at this next roundabout, you're going to take the second exit. Don's like, the second exit? I'm like, the second exit. And that went on and on and on. Okay, there's another roundabout. It's going to be the fourth exit. And then we got really good at the roundabout.
We had that years ago when we rented a car from Lake Garda, Italy, and we were going to Interlaken, Switzerland. And we had the 6-hour drive. And I thought, what are we going to talk about and do for 6 hours in a car? Well, I was navigating all those roundabouts. Yes. So I know exactly and those tolls too. And each toll, well, we have that here too. They're always a little bit different. When you have to pay for parking in a garage, why can't it be a universal?
Exactly.
But it's not. They always have a little bit different something.
Yeah.
Driving in another country is a whole nother thing.
And I'm the one that had to figure out all the parking stuff, how to pay, like... He was doing a phenomenal job driving, and that was stressful enough. So I was doing all the other things, but lots of new things that I learned, like just basic things that we wouldn't have had that experience if we hadn't rented a car before.
Good for you. Proud of you.
So what about you? What did you have to figure out? What was something that was like new that made you feel like a beginner?
When we were seeing our friends, Carr and Scott, who they take the trains everywhere. They don't have a car. And they're like, we don't need to. We can take the trains. And they had assured us, we've missed every train. We've done everything. We just kept missing the train. And so one day we were supposed to meet them on a train. And we saw the train as we get out of this, because we missed the train. We saw the train leaving as we got there.
Oh no, that's so stressful.
So what I figured out is don't sweat the small stuff.
Yeah.
Because we can, like back here in Los Angeles, we get so like, we got to be on time. We got to get going. And I'm like, none of it's the end of the world. There's a new train that's coming in 7 minutes, or you can take an Uber or figure it out. It's not that big a deal. So learning to stay flexible is something.
Yes.
It's much easier said than done, but going with the flow.
But that's such a good lesson also, because when we were with my dad and my stepmom's friends, Ali and Paolo, we were leaving Capri. We were on the ferry coming back to Naples, and we were trying to figure out the car rental thing because we wanted an earlier car rental. And I was like looking on this app and this app, and Ali said to me, "Don't worry. It always works out. You can always figure it out. There's always a way to figure it out. And if you open your mind to thinking, oh, there's always a way to figure it out. If I miss this train, I get on the next train. If I have an appointment, I change the appointment."
You're much more adaptable than you think you are. And I think that's what gives you that, kind of unlocks your brain. Because if you really look at your life, you're never problem free. There's always something, some sort of glitch you have to kind of go, okay, well, that didn't work. What could I do next? And traveling, whether it's far away or close by, but just getting out of your routine helps you adapt and stay in that beginner mode.
Yeah. I mean, and if you think about like our students and the little ones, like they are in that beginner mode all the time.
Yeah, they're always learning. And they approach things like, this is new for me. How's this going to unfold? And that's what we want to keep awakening in ourselves, because we can get so stuck in curmudgeon-like, and we don't want to be that way.
I love that.
Yeah. So let's talk about the flexibility and imperfection.
Oh my God, I have a story.
Okay, do tell. What's your imperfect story?
So we're leaving Naples on the way to Pompeii. We have a guide who is meant to meet us in Pompeii at a certain time. And so we get the car, we're on the road, we're right on target for meeting the guy. Our tire like blows up basically on the highway autostrada, and Don's like, "We have a flat tire." I'm like, no.
That's scary.
It was really scary.
So
it just like we hit a pothole as we were leaving Naples, and next thing you know, boom, 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 the car, and we pulled over. There was a little spot we could pull over. Don was like a professional pit man for Mario Andretti, changed a tire in 30 seconds. He's, where's the thing? Where's the thing? Get me the manual. I can't figure out how to take off the hubcap. Boom, 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 boom. 30 seconds, done.
No.
Yeah.
That's
I mean,
awesome.
I'm exaggerating, but like literally 5 minutes.
That's incredible.
Yeah, it was incredible.
Such a good feeling.
I'm like, okay, also, so what if we don't get to Pompeii in time? You have to just be okay with what your situation is, because these are not predictable.
No, they're not predictable. We had a situation with our backroads bike trip. We had a wonderful group. They were just people that I will cherish the memories for that week so much. And you spend so much time together, so you really get to know one another. There were two couples from Australia, and on the very first day of bike riding, Julie was right at the very end of our day. She rounded a corner. She didn't see a curb. And this is for anyone riding a bike, wear that bike helmet.
Yes.
She got the dent in her helmet it would have been her head had she not. And they were really careful making sure our helmets fit properly. But she did break her wrist. And so it's the first day of the bike ride. She's in some little rural French hospital. And I don't know what was going on with this little town, but everyone and their brother was in that urgent care. And she had to be in that hospital. She doesn't speak French for 12 hours. Oh. So I think she got home back to the hotel 2 or 3 in the morning. And she had big gashes on her legs. And honestly, she taught me so much, because it was a long way away. They were coming from Australia. It's the first day of bike riding. It was kind of their dream trip to do this particular bike road trip. And her whole thing was looking at it from like, it could have been so much worse. I mean, look at me. My head is okay. I'm able to walk. I don't need surgery here. And she joined us for all the lunches and the dinners and things like that. But I mean, she taught me so much about looking for what was right rather than what was wrong. And kudos to Julie.
She okay? She was okay.
She's amazing. She's back home and she's healing now.
Talk about being flexible when things don't go as planned. And that's, you don't really have a choice.
She didn't have a choice, but her attitude changed everything.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes our brain tends to look towards the negative, And of course, I went right to things come in threes. I'm like, who else is going to fall and hurt themselves? Am I going to be the next one? And she's like, no. I've already had the problem. No one else is going to have a problem on this trip. She just had a way of twisting and turning things around to be positive, which I really admired.
Good for Julie. Mm-hmm. So mindset would be what helps you stay flexible.
Yeah.
Would you say?
Absolutely.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever think about switching insurance companies to see if you could save some cash? Progressive makes it easy. Just drop in some details about yourself and see if you're eligible to save money when you bundle your home and auto policies. The process only takes minutes, and it could mean hundreds more in your pocket. Visit Progressive.com after this episode to see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states.
Most people don't realize how much of their personal information is being bought and sold every day. Data brokers are making billions pulling details about you from public records and the internet, then packaging and selling it, usually without your consent. That's how your information lands in the hands of scammers, spammers, even stalkers. That's where Aura comes in. Aura actively removes your data from broker sites and keeps it off. They also instantly alert you if your information shows up in a breach or on the dark web. But Aura goes beyond data protection. With one app, you get a VPN, antivirus, password manager, spam call protection, dark web monitoring, and even up to $5 million in identity theft insurance. All backed by 24/7 US-based fraud support. Other companies might just sell credit monitoring or just a VPN. Aura gives you all of that together at the same price competitors charge for just one service. Start your free trial today at aura.com/prevent. Protect yourself now at aura.com/prevent.
What kind of a traveler, we talked about at the beginning, are you a planner? Are you a wanderer? Are you somewhere in between?
Oh, I'm definitely a planner.
Yeah.
And Dave loves to plan, so he plans good trips.
Yeah.
But I like to have a plan. I don't like to just go, let's just see where the wind blows. I'm like, no, because we're there and I want to see as much as possible.
Right.
So, I mean, I always like to keep some things open. We don't have to have every meal planned out. It's fun to be spontaneous in that way, but just have a general idea of what are some important things to see and do.
Completely. And I think it's so important with the person you're traveling with, how you go together.
Yeah. Well,
Your
let me
companion.
ask you. Now that you're fully married, I've always thought of you as Dawn is married to you.
Yeah,
anyway.
I mean, it didn't.
But now that you're Mr. and Mrs., how does traveling with someone like Dawn, your new husband, did it deepen your relationship?
I mean, I don't feel anything differently, honestly. But traveling is such a wonderful experience together because it challenges you, to go through something like that that's not being planned, like that flat tire, or little things. But I think the biggest thing is that we're both in a state of happiness when we're traveling. We're not having to go to work. We're not having to deal with all the things. So it does, even just this morning, he was like, okay, what are we doing today? He was joking. I was like, that's gone. That's not happening.
You're so right. You've had an indelible marking in your relationship.
Yeah.
And having this time with the two of you.
Yeah. Also, I was just thinking about, we talked earlier about noticings, and we did notice a lot of the same things, but he was obsessed with the olive trees. And as you're driving through Puglia, you see hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and thousands and hundreds of olive trees, but we come to find out that there's a bacteria that's killing all these old olive trees. So they're like thousands of years old, and it's pretty incredible. But I was like, enough with the olive trees.
I love those olive trees.
I do too, but can you imagine? I'm navigating and he's looking at the olive trees. So I'm like, I love the olive trees. I'm sorry they're not alive, but I can't keep talking about olive trees.
It's because he grew up on a farm.
No, and it was so dear.
As a citrus farmer, he's got to notice these things.
Yeah.
I was laughing so hard because Dave and I, December 28th, will celebrate 35 years of marriage.
Incredible.
And yet I still continue to learn something new. And this trip, I learned that we see the world very, very differently.
So interesting.
So even like our pictures on our phones were very different. Like mine are all of people and the people we met and the things that we saw and kind of that kind of stuff. But it was more about the relationships that I connected with. His are all maps, sites, more informative. I'm like, what? But what a beautiful combination to put. I'm like, we need to get a shared album because we both bring perspectives to the trip in different ways. But it was always, he's like, I need to see a map. I need to see a map. I'm like, let's just ask somebody. Like, let's just put it in Google Maps and we'll get there. But that's his thing. He loves to know the landscape.
Yeah. So, so you're learning something new about him after 35 years.
Yeah, always something new. But he cracks me up. I mean, he keeps a map under our bed in an atlas book, and he's always pulling this thing out. I'm like, what is this? But that's how he sees things. So it was fun.
And you talked a lot about your interactions with people. Was there one interaction that you had in particular,
Oh, I mean, there was one, we went out to Monet's house in Giverny. Ooh. And we had a shuttle bus ride for an hour with people. And there was this lovely couple from New York. And she had such a New York accent. She was awesome. And it was when the Knicks were playing and they won their first round.
Oh my God.
Yes. So at first you're like, she's a little bit much. And then I was like, no, this gal is awesome. And she could break out into that Marissa Tomei and My Cousin Vinny. She could quote it word for word. And she had us in stitches. That hour shuttle ride each way went by no time at all. So it was just unexpected and it was just fun.
Yeah. And you initially were like, a little bit judgy, maybe. But then once you let it down, you're like, this is great.
She was amazing. It was just so much fun.
And those kinds of experiences don't always happen, when in our everyday life because we don't allow them. No. So that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
We were at a restaurant one time and there was a family that we couldn't believe our eyes and our ears. And they sat down and the service was really, really slow. And the father immediately said, the service is terrible here. And then the mother stood up and said, can we please have some service? And the two little bratty boys were on their phones the whole time. Wow. And it was so off-putting. And everybody in the restaurant was stressed out by their behavior.
Were they Americans?
They were not American. Well, maybe. I couldn't tell.
Like
yeah, it sounds like it. It sounds like it. But it was definitely noteworthy that that's not how you behave. And that's not, and I was like thinking, wow, this is what they're modeling for their kids. Like if I behaved that way, my kids would be mortified.
I know. You really get to see people's personalities in a restaurant.
Yeah.
Wherever you go, you see a true character. Maybe it's around food and being hungry, but it can bring out the best and the worst. When we were in Freiburg, they have these little water, I don't know how to describe, like they're called a bakle. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying it right, but they're little passages with water in them. The water comes down from the mountains and it's like a natural air conditioning. So as the day was getting warm, people just put their feet in there and it's so neat. And the kids have these little wooden boats that they with strings and you put them in the water canals. And as you're walking through the streets, they've eliminated majority of cars going through. So it's safe. But it's just along the street front, these water canals. And I was watching a family having dinner and their little girl, she's like 3 or 4 years old. She was done eating and she could just put her feet in the water. There was no way to get hurt. It was maybe 6 inches wide. And she had so much fun playing in there and just putting her hands and like drawing water painting on the sidewalk. And it was just simple. But I thought, then I read up about them. It used to be how they'd wash out sewage in the cities. So the history was like, ugh. But they brought them back and it's so endearing. So I thought that's what we need to do in America. We need to have little ancient water walkways so we could have wooden boats.
I did also want to mention, because we've talked a little bit about children, I feel like European children have a little bit more freedom in the space that they're given from their parents. Like I was in a piazza watching a little kid walk away from his parents, and they they were watching him from a distance, but he got quite far. He was tiny. He was like 3 or 4. And then he turned around and came back to them. But they weren't like, come back, you know.
I found the same thing. I was like, I saw these 2 little kids and I'm like, where are their parents?
Right.
And they had their eyes on their kids.
Yeah.
But there was no cars around. It was definitely a safer environment. But, I think here we're so panicked about someone snatching your kids away. But yeah, there's a little bit more of
it's a relaxing feeling.
It is relaxing.
Of being able to have more freedom and space. And
yes.
Yeah, that's an interesting observation for sure.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I know.
Wow.
So now we're back.
We're back.
And I treasure time away and traveling, but I think about also like coming back, having been back a couple of weeks. There's so much that you can take back from kind of like a reset of your life.
How do you hold on to it? Or like, what would be one of the things that you want to continue, or a feeling or a practice?
I think the practicing of not just making it that you have to have a trip that involves far distances, that you can go someplace out of your routine, but be intentional. Like, because life can just get to be the humdrum, but making plans. So just yesterday, I had a wonderful day out at a gentleman and his wife's ranch. And it was a last minute invitation. And I'm so glad I did it. And I think the traveling allowed me to say, you had time, but I had to schedule it. There were some things I needed to rearrange, but I did it. And I'm so glad I did. And it gave me perspective. And it wasn't costly. It wasn't far, far away, but it was something that I treasured. And I think from taking a trip, it's like, it's okay to take 6 hours out of it, when you can, out of your day and go do something different.
Well, also organizing and getting on a plane and going someplace is a lot. And it's what we're so lucky that we're able to do that. But I also think just stepping away from your life in any way that you can, even if it's just like shutting everything down and having a staycation or going to a museum or going to the beach and taking a walk. Like, it's just, those are the things that fill us back up.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Putting down the screens.
It all comes back to the screens.
It does.
Yeah.
It does.
It all comes back to the screens. It all comes back to connecting. But I think being intentional, being present, it takes a lot of work, but it's so rewarding.
I think the challenge, though, is all the time, we need our phones for so many things.
Yeah.
And whether it's taking pictures or dictating notes or checking email, but I'm really trying to put the phone away. Like, it's like, check your emails at the end of the day. Nothing's going to be that urgent. Yeah. So I'm trying slowly.
It is. I mean, even traveling, I was navigating with my phone, but Don would never do that. He would take out a map or he would get his bearings by looking around, not by looking down.
Yeah, Dave too.
There's ways to do things that, that's like our continuous, constant challenge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One thing I took away, this just happened yesterday. I did a lot yesterday, but when I came home from my day-long excursion, I took my dog for a walk, and I'm just becoming more curious about my neighbors. And I got to meet 2 new neighbors yesterday, just on my...
Wait, on your street here?
Yes.
That's great.
One gal, she lives around the corner. She and her partner have been renting this house for 10 years. Her yard is amazing. She was watering her yard, and I just made a compliment on her yard because it's amazing. Turns out she's a landscape architect. She's a teacher. I'm like, can you come over and help me? She taught me so much about plants, which I'd never been a gardener, but I'm going to learn from Suzanne. And then last night I got to meet my new neighbors across the street. They happened to be outside and we got to meet, and I'm so delighted. But I think having traveled, I'm like, just put yourself out there. Say hello, get to know somebody.
It opens you up in a different way.
It does.
Yeah, it helps you grow. And when children travel, it's miraculous what happens to them.
Yes.
Yeah.
What do you think happens when those children travel?
Well, I think it's an education. Shane, my youngest son, had an opportunity to travel, and he's at the tail end of it. He just came back from Europe, and he's in New York, and I can't wait to... He gave me nothing when he was on his trip. I'd be like, how's Madrid? He'd be like, it's great.
But he's living in the moment.
So he's like, stop bothering me, Mom. I was so excited for him. I'm like, can you send me a picture? So he's going to have to sit down with me and
he will.
I can't wait.
He will.
I think, and as a young person that traveled, it does make you more adaptable and flexible and all the things. But you have to continue, like we say, the big little lesson when you're little, how do you maintain that throughout your lifetime?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Get outside your regular routine, no matter where you are. All right. So let's think about what we could ask our listeners to take away.
What's one small way you could step out of your regular routine?
Trying a new food.
Or taking a walk. I mean, we love in Italy, after dinner, you passeggiare, you take your walk after dinner.
Put away your phones.
Going to a museum, going to the beach. It's summertime.
Yeah.
Go to the beach, sit outside.
There's lakes, there's rivers. Find some sort of water source.
That's true. We're lucky we have beaches.
We do have beaches.
Being by the water, being with friends. Just give yourself opportunities to feed that part of you. We're so lucky. We have time in the summer. We need the time in the summer, but you can find ways to make time.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Do you have I feel like our whole episode's been a big little lesson. Is there anything else you wanted to add to it?
No, all the things we talked about, the being present and being flexible and being open and having those experiences and bringing them back, but figuring out ways to continue. Like one of the things I wanted to say was we didn't turn on the TV or have a TV, and we didn't watch TV for 2 weeks. So part of my normal routine here in the morning is waking up very early and watching the local news. And I was so happy to not do that. And I'm so addicted to it. When I came back, I was like, I have to watch the news. And I'm like, do I really need to watch the news? It just gives you stress.
I agree. Sometimes the news, we don't want to be an ostrich with our head in the sand, but I did not watch the news either, and I did not miss it. And what I discovered is that there's so many nice people in this world. There are. That everyone wants to get along, and there's good people out there.
Yeah. And we lock into a lot of negativity.
The news kind of makes you paranoid, and it's important to put that in perspective.
Yeah. I do want to just tie it into the notion of being a beginner and what that looks like and how that feels. And being a beginner keeps us humble and curious and grateful. So
grateful.
I love that idea.
But learning and being curious is be a beginner. Look at things through an eyes of a 5 and 6-year-old.
Always.
Well, we hope this conversation reminds everyone that travel doesn't have to be extravagant or far away to teach us something.
It's true, because sometimes it's simply stepping out of our normal routine, which is what we said, noticing something new and allowing ourselves to be curious again.
Yeah. So whether you're boarding a plane or taking a weekend road trip, exploring your own neighborhood, or sitting a little longer at the dinner table, there are opportunities all around us to see the world with fresh eyes.
And maybe that is the gift of travel. It wakes us up to beauty, to olive trees.
Lots and lots of olive trees.
To stretching our flexibility, deepening our gratitude. I feel so grateful that I had this experience, and reminding us that we're always, always, always still learning.
You can find us on Instagram at Teach Big Little Lessons, and you can email us at teachbiglittlelessons@gmail.com.
Yes, we'd love for you to follow along. Share this episode with a friend and leave us a review whenever you listen.
And remember, big little lessons are everywhere.
We'll see you next time.
If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening.